President Obama having some fun in Wisconsin this week out on the campaign trail. We're going to talk about it on the roundtable now. We're joined by Congressman Tom Cole, Republican of Oklahoma, Congressman Joaquin Castro, Democrat from Texas, and Gearan of the Washington Post, covering Hillary Clinton, and Bill Kristol, editor of the Weekly Standard. We got to start out talking about Donald Trump. And Congressman Cole, you're a student of politics, a student of presidential campaigns. Does this help or hurt your party?
Oh, I think it probably helps. It's good.
Donald Trump helps?
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. Look, I look at this as somebody making a statement. He's got a certain following. I don't think he's anybody's second choice. I think that's his big problem in the race. And anything that draws attention at this stage is fine. But I don't think most people think Donald Trump is the Republican Party. He's never held an office, never really, been associated all that much directly with the party. So, at the end of the day, it adds to the color, but I don't think it hurts.
Gave up any chance of getting Latino votes this week, huh?
Oh, absolutely. And he's energized the Latino community. In fact, America Ferrera wrote an incredible thank you note to Donald Trump this past week about him doing that. The other thing is that he's put the other guys in a very bad position. Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio, for example, took about 3 weeks to come out and condemn Donald Trump, which was absolutely surprising that they wouldn't have the spine early on to stand up and say something.
I got to believe, Bill Kristol, that Donald Trump hears Jeb Bush attack him, Marco Rubio attack him, Mitt Romney attack him, and said, fine.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Cecilia said when you were talking with her earlier about the race that Donald Trump had done well despite these controversial comments. He's doing well because of these controversial comments. Now, I do think he has a limit on how well he will do because ultimately you can't win a presidential nomination just saying outrageous things. But he has tapped into real sentiments, and the Republican Party needs to channel those sentiments. Rick Perry handled it fine. I don't agree with you. Republicans have done fine handling Trump. Rick Perry said, just after talking to you, look, I don't agree with him. He shouldn't have said what he said. But then he got right back on his message. So if they can incorporate the Trump message.
But you've had folks like Ted Cruz defend him, Bill.
Fine, you know what? It's a diverse party.
It's a diverse party.
It is a diverse party. You know what?
Bill,
some people are very upset about illegal immigrants who do actually murder people.
Take 3 weeks. When the head of NASCAR comes out before Jeb Bush and Marco Rubio, you've got a problem.
Meanwhile, Ann Gearan, we are probably going to see Donald Trump in the debates. He's clearly in the top 10 right now, could dominate the stage.
Absolutely. I mean, he does an amazing thing, right? He can just absolutely suck the oxygen away from other people. He can suck the attention away from other people. He's doing it right now. I think I have to disagree with you, Congressman. I think he's taking attention away from some of the candidates who are saying things that eventually will probably be what the election is decided on. And he'll be able to do that in debates, presuming he lasts till then.
Well, I don't think so. Look, he's actually provided a chance for these candidates to separate themselves from him and actually make the statements and reactions. So, again, he's a foil in the debate, but I don't think that he's going to be a factor at the end.
How long do you think he stays in the race?
You know, as long as he wants to, frankly. He's got enough money to stay in as long as he wants to. But he's got to balance off how much business he's losing with how much business he's gaining.
And, Bill, you point out that the big danger for Republicans could be if Donald Trump, after the primaries are over, decides to pull a Ross Perot.
Yeah, if he runs third party, that's very dangerous. Republicans need to incorporate what is healthy about the Trump message, which is an anti-establishment, anti-Washington message, a genuine concern about the surge of illegal immigrants and the fact that some of them are criminals. It's not a ridiculous thing to say. The way he said it was crude and reprehensible.
But I want to point out, George, that, what happened in San Francisco was a tragedy to the young woman. And, it's clear that somewhere along the line, the immigration system failed in allowing this man to still be on the street. But I think what's egregious about Donald Trump is that he tries to imply because one guy committed a crime that all immigrants and all people from Mexico are like that. And that is incredibly offensive.
Well, he didn't quite say that, and to the degree
he did say that.
To the degree he seemed to say that, every responsible Republican has denounced that.
Well, I disagree.
So well, you can disagree, but Rick Perry sat here and just did it.
Look at the quotes. That's one guy. You've got about 20 people running.
Jeb Bush did it. I mean, look, you don't respond to everything everybody says in a campaign. But anytime anybody's been asked, I haven't noticed anybody embrace those remarks. Quite the opposite.
Bill Kristol says the Republicans need Trump voters. What is Hillary Clinton going to do about all those Bernie Sanders voters?
Bernie Sanders is giving Hillary Clinton a pretty serious headache on a couple of fronts right now. He's drawing much larger crowds than she is, much more enthusiastic crowds. People are saying things at Bernie Sanders rallies that you just don't hear people saying with the same level of enthusiasm and verve at Hillary Clinton rallies. And he raised a respectable $15 million. Yes, she raised 45, which squashes him, but he wasn't even really trying. I mean, she went to nearly 60 fundraisers, and he went to 2 or 3. It's it's a very he is doing something that they knew was going to happen to a degree, but probably not by him and probably not
So how
now.
do they handle the threat?
Well, I mean, I think that Hillary Clinton is not taking this nomination for granted. And early on, before there was real competition, people were complaining about a coronation. Well, it's clear there's no coronation now, that there is a legitimate competition. And I think she's going to take that in stride. And at the end of the day, I think this can only be good for Democrats because you have more than one person energizing that base.
When does it stop being good for her, though? I mean, a little competition is a good thing. You're right. It takes away the coronation argument. It neutralizes it to some extent. It actually also probably helps her raise money to an extent.
When she loses Iowa and New Hampshire, I'm just saying it stops being good for. Bernie Sanders has more individual donors at this stage than Barack Obama had in 2007. I mean, he's being underestimated. And incidentally, are there going to be Democratic debates? We've been talking about the Republican debates, which 10 will make it. I think the first debate is early August, isn't it? Will Hillary Clinton not have to debate Bernie Sanders?
Democratic debate set up, but
well, I'm not sure that quite set up. Let's see. I'm really looking forward to that first debate, and I'm looking forward to Bernie Sanders pointing out on the stage to Hillary Clinton that she defended the deregulation of the banks, she voted for the Iraq War, she's very close to Goldman Sachs. It's going to be a fun Democratic debate.
She's still up by 22 points. I suspect that will get within single digits, that it will be a competition, but I think ultimately Hillary Clinton will be the nominee.
But she pulls the entire Democratic Party well to the left.
Well, and Trump is pulling him well to the
doesn't have
right.
to pull it. It's going there.
We got to take a quick break. When we come back, two major stories unfolding overseas: the nuclear negotiations with Iran, the financial crisis in Greece. We're going to analyze all the latest, and we'll look ahead to tonight's finals in Women's World Cup, which brings us to our powerhouse puzzler. The U.S. last won in 1999 with this penalty kick right here. Who knocked it in, and who did the U.S. beat? We'll be right back with the answer. So, who scored the game-winning penalty kick in the 1999 Women's World Cup final? Which team did the U.S. beat? Let's see what you guys came up with. Jessica Hahn, Germany. Mia Hamm, China. Brandy Chastain, Mexico. Brandy Chastain, some foreign country. You guys are both half right. Brandy Chastain, it was China. So you were half right as well. The game is tonight. We'll be right back. And we are back now with the roundtable. I want to take a look at the week coming up. I want to start with you, Congressman Tom Cole. What's the headline you're watching for?
I think the president's going to sign the deal with Iran, and I think Congress is going to erupt in opposition.
Erupt in opposition.
Absolutely.
I think also whether we have a deal with Iran or not, I think there will be one, and I think hopefully Congress will take some time to actually consider it.
The question is, will they have 30 or 60 days, Ann Gearan?
I think they will probably have 30 because I think they will get a deal. And I think that the Republicans are going to accuse Obama of putting legacy ahead of U.S. and Israeli security. And you're right, it will erupt.
So that'll be the big story of the week, I think. Though Greece getting out of voting no would be interesting also. And I think, look at Ben Cardin just in your interview. The Democrats are not solid behind this deal. And the stipulations he's laying down about inspections, but I'd say the key objection is going to be that might swing the Cardins, the moderate Democrats, is the signing bonus. $100 billion right away released to Iran, a regime that Hillary Clinton just said yesterday continues to sponsor terrorism, is committed to the destruction of Israel.
You're saying that's going to come before any kind of interim period, before...
Right, that'll happen in the next 6 months or so, before we know whether they're complying with the deal, before a year or 2 or 3 years from now, where we could give it out in a dole. They get a huge signing bonus, as it's called, up front, and I think that will be a big problem for Democrats to vote for.
Congressman, I was struck by Senator Cardin as well, saying he's hoping there's going to be a good deal he can sign on to.
I mean, I think, George, people are trying to be thoughtful about this, which is what we should be. And I'm confident that the president's not going to enter an agreement where you can't inspect military bases and other places of nuclear enrichment, for example, and also an agreement that would lift sanctions all at once. I'm confident that's not going to happen.
Well, this deal has been changing publicly since April in the direction of Iran. I think the president missed opportunities when he sort of literally walked away from the table. And if you look at where we're headed, the times just simply aren't hopeful. I mean, I would seriously doubt a majority in either house would favor it. And I think he has a chance, if he vetoes a bill, of being overridden, certainly in the House.
Well, but this is the problem with Congress today, is that people are saying no before they even see the terms of the agreement. That's what's so broken.
But you don't even have Democrats saying yes.
Yeah, I think we're allowed to discuss what has been publicly floated as the negotiating positions. We don't have to all be quiet until the agreement is signed and the administration says, okay, 30 days.
Well, no,
I
but
totally
you
agree
should
with you,
keep
though.
an open mind as to what the agreement's going to be.
Well, let's see what the agreement is. Let's see whether Iran doesn't get tens of billions of dollars right away.
Well, but there's much more to it than that, Bill. I mean, you're picking one piece of it. There's so much more to it than that.
Well, but you've got a president that has been consistently wrong. He was wrong about getting out of Iraq. He was wrong about what happened in Yemen, and he was wrong about Libya. So you have a history here going into an agreement that it's hard to believe he's suddenly going to get it right.
And Gearan, what about this? You covered the State Department for a long time as well. What about this line of thinking that Secretary Kerry is too eager for a deal?
I think Secretary Kerry has been the frontline negotiator here, so whether it's going to be a good deal or a bad deal, he's going to get the credit or the blame, as well as Obama. But I think the negotiating between he and the Iranian foreign minister, they know one another really well now. They've been doing this a long time. To your point of whether the president, through Kerry, should have walked away, I think that's something that we'll definitely be debating when we do see the final terms of the deal. But they're at the end. They know exactly how far the other one has to go. I think at this point, it really is a question of whether the leaders back home are giving the negotiators enough room to actually come to that agreement. They know how far they can go.
And the supreme leader in Iran, Mr. Khamenei, has laid out so many red lines that so far appear not to meet the bottom lines the United States could accept.
But they wouldn't still be at the table if there wasn't some room, right?
We will see. The first deadline is Tuesday. Who knows if that'll be met? Thank you all for joining us this morning. And now we honor our fellow Americans who serve and sacrifice. In the month of June, 2 service members were killed supporting operations in Afghanistan and Iraq. And that is all for us today. Thanks for sharing part of your Sunday with us. Check out World News Tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow on GMA.